Welcome to the Redvee TV preview show, supported by A-Star Recruitment for the 2019 season, as we look ahead to this Friday's game against the London Broncos back at the Totally Wicked Stadium. Before we start, I'm going to put a link below this video. If you enjoy watching our videos, we're doing the Saints Sleepout a week on Friday, supporting the Saints Community Foundation, YMCA Sports and Teardrops helping the homeless. So if you could spare a pound or two, we do really appreciate it, and for anybody who has donated so far, thank you very much.
Absolutely, we're really grateful for those who've supported us so far. Hopefully a few of you will do the same.
Hopefully on the evening as well we'll do some live footage from the Totally Wicked of people being very cold.
And me snoring probably.
Yeah. Right, on to the preview show for this week. London, Friday. Before the start of the season you would have said it's an absolute gimme. Now you'd say it's still a likely 2 points, but London doing far better than expected.
Yeah, absolutely. Good result against Wigan last week. I think getting a team who's up for it like London on the 4G pitch, I mean, it's like going to Widnes as it used to be, where it's always a bit difficult. But fair play to him. You still got to turn over the team who you're playing against, who you're up against, and yeah, 4 points is it now? From the opening couple of rounds.
So that's 2 out of the 3 I said they'd win this season. Not going well, but they're going to come to the Totally Wicked with a bit of confidence behind them, and if they get a couple of early tries on the board, these are the sort of games of the past that Saints haven't always been on it.
Yeah, absolutely. They've got absolutely no pressure, I think, in this game. I mean, you could turn around and say they've changed the squad up a little bit. I mean, to be fair, I've written down who they've dropped out of the squad. It's Kieran Dixon, James Cunningham, Nathan Mason, Ryan Morgan, who's on loan from the Saints there, and Jay Pitts. Yeah, and there's no pressure. They might have a couple of young lads coming in, but really they're expected to lose. So they could go out there, play their own game and kind of see how it's going and reevaluate after 10, 20, 30 minutes. And the pressure is on us to keep our performances going and not let it slip.
And you get the impression that's the attitude they'll come with. It'll be like, how long can we stay in the game? How long can we frustrate Saints?
Yeah.
And get the crowd a little bit twitchy. And then all of a sudden you think you've got a chance. That said, the bookies have got Saints as 28-point favourites. Probably justified based on our performance last week at Salford. It was very professional, wasn't it? And we don't look like conceding a lot of points.
Yeah, our defence was magnificent, wasn't it? And as you say, very, very professional. And there's not too many changes to our squad. There's only Kevin Nagama who's come back in for Matty Costello. And you'd imagine Holbrook will go pretty similar again, if not the same 17. I know we've talked a lot of times on this show and probably a lot on the forums, on social media about rotation. But Justin's not going to go with that, is he? It seems he says in every interview that comes out, and do you know what? He sticks to his word as well. He doesn't say one thing and do another, and he's basically said the players want to play. It's one game a week. If they're fit, they're going to play. Now, for me, do you know what? If that's the attitude he's going to go with, I think we've got to support him. Do we read too much into last season when we say the lack of rotation cost our chances? Was there more to it than that? Because at the end of the day, Warrington, Wigan and the likes, they didn't rotate either. Possibly. But as you say, like we've had quite a few tweets in at redvee.net on Twitter from people backing what Justin's done, because we've had a week off when it was a World Cup challenge. This is only round 5. If people need a rest now, then you're wondering what's wrong with them. And when it comes to further on in the season, we play London twice down there. As I say, they've got a 4G pitch. They could be the games where you give the likes of Johnny Lomax, Tommy Makinson, who've had injuries on 4G pitches.
You'd assume they won't play in them.
Yeah, and your elder statesmen like James Roby, Zeb Tyre may well.
And how many breaks do players need in a season? You probably need a couple of weeks off, and you probably, if you build up enough of a healthy lead at this point of the year, it makes it easier in the back end to rotate.
Yeah, that's it.
Keep them fresh at the business end.
You've got a couple of arguments that if I'm paying for a ticket, I want to see the best Saints team available playing. So when I paid for my season ticket, I'm not there to see necessarily fringe players play. On the other hand, I do want to see the likes of Jack Ashworth and James Bentley get the chance, but only when it's right. it could be argued this week is the right week to do it, where you can throw one or two in, and he may well still do it. We don't know if one or two have got niggling injuries. But if he goes with the same 17, you can't blame him after that performance against Salford.
And equally, we talk quite a lot about wanting to see a competitive league.
Yeah.
But how often in the last few years have we actually seen Saints go out and absolutely demolish someone at home? It doesn't happen very often.
No.
That should be one of the goals this season, to absolutely wallop somebody.
Yeah, well,
and that's no disrespect to London.
No, because it could be anybody.
Yeah.
The way Huddersfield are going, you'd say it's more likely it's going to be a team like Huddersfield, because they look completely rudderless at the moment. Obviously, we'll get them when they've either just changed coach or they've signed somebody.
Or they've got Danny Brough back on loan.
Yeah, and they end up coming back. But you're right, I'm not sure the weather forecast is going to be the best for an open game. I think it's rained pretty much all week. But you never know. I mean, we should be looking to put some points on the board on Friday. As we say, it's no disrespect to London, but if this had been Toronto, if it had been Halifax, if it had been whoever's come up, this is the type of game that you should be turning around and thinking, right, we need to be as professional as we were against Salford, and we need to make sure that we're just keeping them pinned back and take your opportunities.
And I think that is exactly what we did against London. A lot of the reviews and comments after the game was just on how professional we were, and we stuck to our task. And it wasn't an easy first 15-20 minutes in that game, but we stuck at it. Defence was solid. We got through our sets, not really many handling errors, and got the rewards at the end of it. And it's just, essentially, it's a bit of a juggernaut. It's just keep rolling.
Yeah. That's it. You can't put it better than that. Just stay professional, take your chances, and keep them out. One
of the forum topics on the Redvee forum the last day or so, George Ford linked with a move to Super League. I can't see it.
No, I'm sure that the England appearance fee in rugby union is £22,000 a match. That was the last one that I think they negotiated. Whether it's gone up, I'm not sure, but it's £22,000 a match. So that means that if he plays every Six Nations game in a year, he earns £110,000 before
his club
earned anything from his club.
It sounds like agents.
It does sound like agent talk. Listen,
and I'm not sure that for the money that we'd have to tempt somebody like George Ford to Super League with, is money well spent? What do you do if he doesn't adapt?
That's it's the big risk, isn't it?
You may as well go out and spend your money on a semi-established NRL player.
Yeah.
The likes of Jackson. Look at the likes of Jackson Hastings who've come over and ripping it up. Are you going to get that from the likes of George Ford?
Well,
he may well be fantastic, but it's a risk.
This is the thing, you don't know. He could be the best player ever to pull on the Redvee.
Yeah.
It could well be one of those that you think, we spent, £500,000 in wages on.
And he tried to send back to union after 6 months.
Yeah, we're getting nothing from. He's definitely a talented bloke, but as his skill set based more on, or better suited to rugby union than it would be league.
And more to the point, do we need him?
Well, again, we don't know. He could be the best.
Where would he play? Would he play standoff or would he play scrum half?
I think they're much of a muchness. I think.
So if Johnny Lomax, who's got a long-term deal, is your standoff,
he'd play.
And Lachlan Coote's there for the next 3 years, so Lomax isn't going to move to full-back. So Lomax is your 6, and at 7 you've got Theo Farge out of contract at the end of the season. Yeah. But I can't see him going from playing at 7 to not being offered a deal. So and then you've got Danny Richardson potentially to come back
coming
as well.
In, and then you turn around and you say, well, Farge wants to play 7. He'll probably be looking at signing his new deal based on him playing 7 rather than him playing 9. You've got Roby for 2 years. He signs a new deal. Yeah. Aaron Smith coming through,
and we've got halves in the youth system who are highly thought of as well.
He could possibly play centre. But then, are you thinking that one of our players
ahead of who? Nagama or Pesman?
But this is but now you're saying everybody's going to stay, and not everybody might stay.
No, potentially, yeah. But
so this is it. It's if my auntie had
but knowing what we know, the way the club plan, the signings and the squad, we know they've got the squad mapped out for the next 3 or 4 years. I cannot see it happening. To be honest, I cannot see him coming to rugby league.
No,
full stop.
I can't.
Wigan, the temperature has rose.
Yep.
Back to 2 from 0.
I thought you were going to start singing the Weather Girl said, temperature's rising.
Don't know. Give us a verse.
You're all right. What do you mean you don't know it? It's on your playlist. It's Raining Men.
Whilst it's been fun having a go at them,
yeah,
I think we we're in danger of taking their plight a little bit out of context. One of our good Wigan friends, Bilko, I think put it quite succinctly, didn't he? They played 4, they beat Leeds, they lost against us, which everybody will this year. They lost against Hull when Hardaker missed a kick on the hooter to win it, and then they conceded the golden points. That was a loss. And the London loss was basically they were going in one end for a try, they bobble it, and Kieran Dixon snaffles it up and goes to the other end. So, if buts and maybes, they could quite easily be sat 2 points behind Saints on 6 points. It's too early to write Wigan off.
Yeah, it always is. It always is too early. I mean, the London one, there was still plenty of time in the game left for London to get back into it. But yeah, that's it. As you say, ifs and buts. Still...
And if Wigan were to finish 5th and make the playoffs,
you can't.
You're not wanting to play them out.
You can't write them off, unfortunately.
Yeah, we'll just have fun while they are losing. But that said, I think they'll absolutely batter Huddersfield on Friday night.
Well, I like the fact that it's some kind of relegation battle that Sky are putting on so early in the season.
It would have been a 6-pointer until Wigan got, well, 4-pointer until Wigan got the 2 back. Much else happened this week in the league?
Great Britain and Ireland Lions.
Yeah, just take your England shirt off, lads, and put the Great Britain on one, or just add a blue stripe.
Yeah, I think
who would get into the Great Britain side? Who is not English?
Morgan Knowles.
Apart from that.
Well, you can't just say apart from that now. But
can I add a name?
Go on.
Lachlan Coote.
Yeah, possibly at fullback.
Scottish fullback.
But that's it. Yeah, I know it's seen as it's just going to be England players, and I think last time Great Britain played, it was all England players then.
And to be fair, I don't think you should include anybody from any other home nations unless they're good enough to actually be in the squad.
Yes.
I don't want tokenism.
No.
I don't want Aussies in it either, to be honest. But
yeah, I'd rather they were bona fide English, Welsh, Scottish, Irish players in it.
At the very most, parents.
Yes.
I don't like the grandparent rule. I don't like picking what nation you are if you've played here for 4 years either. But different arguments entirely.
Yeah.
On a show of its own.
But I think bringing the Lions back is a great move. I think it does kind of bring a little bit more prominence to the international game, which is needed. And I think that if we can get the home nations playing as well, and it's going to take a lot for that to happen, but if we can get the home nations playing as well, then it'll show the pathway that Scottish, Welsh and Irish lads can then aspire to get into the Lions team and make the most of your likes of Brian Carney, who made it in rugby league and ended up representing the Lions. Because that's what it's all about. The international game, we've just mentioned George Ford and his England teammates getting a potential of 22 grand, if not more, per game that they just turn out in.
England, the Great Britain lads were also probably looking to get the petrol paid for to get to Leeds for the training.
Exactly, but this is where the international game needs to be a lot bigger in rugby league.
Yeah, but for that, the Aussies need to take interest.
Yes.
Again, another show. You mentioned Brian Carney there. Eddie Hemmings announced his retirement in the last week. I know it's a topic of fun to moan about Sky commentators, but he's been an ever-present as long as I've been watching rugby league. Massive miss when he goes.
Yeah, I think it's sometimes you've got to be careful what you wish for. And
has the coverage improved since Steve-O went, for example? I would argue
no, I don't think it has. I think sometimes Eddie, what I want from a commentator is someone to describe the action and then go to his co-commentator, who is an ex-player, to then give us an insight into it. I don't necessarily need the insight from a commentator. That's not what I want. And Eddie has kind of gone down that route a little bit over the past couple of years, I'd say, where he's bringing a little bit more emotion into it.
Looking for the controversy in every decision.
And I think this is a chance for Sky to have a bit of a clean slate and get their team sorted. The likes of Stuart Cummins, who for me just muddles things, and he's
I'm not sure why you need a referee on the panel.
No, he could be in the ref's hut or something that they cut to at half time at full time. But if they want to have him there, that's what they do.
But equally, even what he tells you on screen when he's watching it on the replays isn't necessarily correct.
To be fair, I probably wouldn't have him. I'd probably have someone like Ian Smith or George Stokes or someone like that who's retired fairly recently and still kind of knows the newer rules of the game rather than him. Phil Clark would be straight out the door. I'd probably split back.
Remember when we used to think Phil Clark was a Saints fan? bizarre, that wasn't it?
I'd split Barry and Terry up because I don't think the kind of a good comedy double act as Sky think they are.
But that's what they've made. It's like that's what they've made about Spain. Oh, it's a comedy double act. It's
but
like
they're not.
not.
Just keep them apart and give their insight.
I don't particularly mind John Wells.
Right, I'd get rid of him.
But I would get rid of him on the basis he works for Cass.
Well,
how is that not a conflict of interest in the slightest?
I've had this argument where if
let's get Mike Rush on commentary when St. Anne playing. Let's put him when we're going to play in Leeds and we're talking about a controversial decision. Let's get Mike Rush or Scully just to say how much we want to get somebody banned. It's bizarre. You cannot work for a club and then commentate either on them fixtures or against when two rivals are playing and expect them not to have any sort of modicum of even unconscious bias.
Leeds against Wakefield the other night. It's all right. Leeds against Wakefield the other night, and Cass are playing at the same time. And what is he? Director of rugby over at Cass, I think. If that was Paul Wellens who was director of rugby and he was commentating on a Salford Wigan game, I'd want to know why he wasn't at the game watching what was going on at the game. If you're a director, I get that they don't have to be at all games, but your professional focus should be
on your own club.
On your own club.
You don't know what sort of agreement they've got, but that's one for the Cass fans who do watch our show. Let us know what you think. I think we've ranted enough now, haven't we?
Yeah, I think so.
We will be back on Friday night for the instant fan reaction, hopefully after another 2 points against London. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to click on the link below and give us £1 or 50p, whatever you can spare, and help the homeless, the YMCA Sports and the Saints Community Foundation. All great causes which hopefully they'll raise plenty of money for. And you can go to the Saints website and sign up for the sleepout next week and come and join us. We will see you Friday night.